Iran has reopened its airspace after confirming the failure of an attack against the territory. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas described U.S. veto of Palestine's bid to join the United Nations as a full member as immoral and unjustified. And Argentina's ultra-liberal government has been forced to give a 70% increase to specific university funds after a day of visible support to the sector. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Iranian authorities have opened the airspace after confirming the failure of an attack against their territory. The civil aviation organization reports that several flights have been reactivated. In addition to apologizing to the passengers for the inconvenience caused by the cancellation and delay of some flights, they informed that they have established a protocol to know the exact time of departures and arrivals. Thus, it is officially confirmed that all operational restrictions imposed for security reasons have been lifted. The spokesman for the Persian Space Agency, Hossein Dalirian, reported via the social network X that several drones had been successfully shot down, while noting that no missile attacks has been recorded. Earlier on Friday, Iranian regional and military authorities confirmed that they responded to an attack with suspicious objects that flew over the airspace of Isfahan, a province in the center of the country, with no damage or affections reported. At the same time, Iranian authorities attest to the complete normality throughout the territory, in contrast to information appearing in Western media about an alleged Israeli attack. In particular, the U.S. outlets cite Defense Department spokesman who confirmed that they had been aware since Thursday of the response ordered by Tel Aviv against the Persian nation. However, Israel has not officially made any statements. The Iranian media reiterated that there were no consummated attacks nor missile responses, and that the drones were repelled with basic anti-aircraft equipment. Let's learn a bit more about what we know so far. The spokesman of the Iranian Space Agency confirmed that the air defenses intercepted 3 targets in the sky over the cities of Isfahan and Jawaristan in the vicinity of an army airbase, activating the defense system. At the time, as a precautionary measure, flights in Tehran, Isfahan and Shiraz were temporarily suspended. Furthermore, local sources confirmed that there were no explosions on the ground and that the loud sounds were caused by the Iranian defenses. The International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, confirmed the versions delivered earlier in the day by the Iranian authorities on the good state of their nuclear facilities. In a message shared on his account on the social network X, Rafael Grossi, General Director of this organism attached to the United Nations system, confirmed that there is no damage to the nuclear sites. In this way, the international verification certifies the security of the Isfahan area and reiterates that the nuclear infrastructure should never be a target in any conflict. For their part, the Iranian air defenses reported the shooting down of 3 small planes, with no one claiming responsibility for the aggression for the moment. Meanwhile, the president of Iran, Ebrahim Raisi, affirmed on Friday that the Operation True Promise has consolidated the strength and competence of his country. In this sense, the Iranian leader acknowledged that this country is waging a war of wills, and at the same time reiterated his faith in victory, while assuring that his people and all the political forces support the government's actions. On the other hand, the head of the Iranian army, Abdul Rahim Mousavi, in reference to the attempted aggression in the central province of Isfahan, made it clear that Iran's strength was demonstrated in its response to the occupying entity, and made no mention of future actions against Israel. On Friday, the French police deployed an operation in the 16th arrondissement of Paris in the vicinity of the Iranian consulate because of the presence inside the building of an individual suspected of carrying an explosive belt. In this way, French police reported they arrested the man who threatened to blow himself up at the Iranian consulate. Reports otherwise indicate that the man was seen entering the consulate carrying what appeared to be a grenade and an explosive vest. France is precisely at the maximum level of terrorist alert within the framework of 100 days before the Olympics. This incident comes amidst tensions between Iran and Israel. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has described as immoral and unjustified the veto exercised by the United States on Thursday against his country's accession as a full member of the United Nations. Washington's decision, known in advance due to a U.S. media leak, has prevented Palestine from ceasing to be a mere observer and gaining full membership in the United Nations. 139 countries around the world have considered Palestine to be entitled to this right, which is why the Palestinian president accuses the Biden administration of practicing an aggressive policy and, more seriously, of violating international humanitarian law, as its decision will lead to the continuation of the genocidal operation against the Palestinian people. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. On Thursday in Argentina, after an intense day of protest in support of the education sector, the government of Javier Milei announced a 70% increase in the operating budget of universities. Specifically, the Ministry of Human Capital reported a 70% increase in funding and also anticipated a similar increase in May. In turn, the Vice Rector of the University of Buenos Aires, Emiliano Jacobiti, clarified that it was the only an informal proposal and insisted that it was insufficient to maintain the functioning of the university system. On the other hand, the National Inter-University Council emphasized the willingness to make an offer, but in the meantime expressed that this organization does not consider the conflict closed and meanwhile ratified a call to the mobilization set for April 23rd. On the other hand, cinema workers will march on Friday to the National Institute of Cinema and Visual Arts in the Inca in Buenos Aires in its defense and in repudiation to the measures taken by the government of President Javier Milei. This new rally against the libertarian measures is called by the staff of Cine Argentino Unido, or United Argentinian Cinema. From there, they denounced the attempts of the executive to destroy culture, according to their statements, as it has already done with education and public health. After announcing the formalization of paralyzing a historic institute for the Ibero-American cinematographic arts, the government unfolded the emptying of the promotion area, a fact considered by the staff as a brutal blow to the reason for the existence of the institute. In Venezuela, Alba-TCP urges the left movements of the world to offer a united path to confront imperialism that seeks to prolong its domination and permanence. During this second day, the meeting is focused on hyper-imperialism and the deepening of a world social alternative. The Secretary of ALBA, Jorge Arriaza, called on the participants in this meeting to generate proposals to advance in areas such as economic and political integration, as well as in education and health, in order to give sure blow to capitalism. Arriaza urged the leftist movements to agree on concrete actions in the field and took as references the cases of imperialist control in Argentina and the support to Israel to attack Palestine.
Nosotros venimos esta mañana a hablar de la unidad.
We come this morning to talk about unity and to talk about unity in the left wing, in the revolutionary movements. It has always been a difficult issue. Today is April 19th. Today is the 211th anniversary of the Venezuelan people's decision to be free. On April 19, 1810, the first referendum in the history of our America was held there.
It's really impressive, especially for me as a German, because in Germany communists and anti-imperialists are marginalized, so to see a state hosting a big event like this and anti-imperialists from all over the world coming together is impressive. I think especially right now it's important that we come together where we see the genocide in Palestine and also the huge sanctions on Venezuela and other countries, and I think we live in a time where the anti-imperialist movement is rising again, so it's important for us to exchange and also to build stronger ties to combat the Western imperialism.
Oh, this event is amazing. And I've met with a lot of comrades from all over the world that stand in solidarity with Palestine, Haiti, Cuba and Venezuela. And this is very much also my position as a member of the Kuwait Democratic Youth Union. Yes, Palestine is one of the major causes that we as people from Kuwait and from my organization, we stand firm with the people of Palestine and the right to resist against the Zionist occupation.
On Thursday, Venezuela and Vietnam strengthened their strategic alliance with the signing of 5 cooperation agreements covering the agricultural, telecommunications, oil and gas sectors. In this way, from the city of Caracas, the President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, and the Deputy Prime Minister of Vietnam, Tran Lu Quang, ratified their commitment to advance in the integral and economic development of both nations. Among the agreements signed are the construction of a new glass industry in Venezuela, the signing of cooperation agreements for agricultural production with the aim of promoting and developing training and technical, scientific and technological support. On Thursday, the President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, received Igor Krasnov, Attorney General of Russia, with the purpose of establishing and strengthening common objectives in defense of the United Nations Charter and the norms and principles of international law. The Attorney General of Russia, Igor Krasnov, landed in Caracas from Cuba. Both Venezuela and Russia, as well as other nations that chose to defend their autonomy, face new challenges that include the aggressive hegemonic policy of the United States. The Russian prosecutor stated that in this sense, the imposition of illegal sanctions is a selective way of applying international law. Krasnov's agenda seeks to strengthen the development of relations between both nations and consolidate common positions in defense of the United Nations Charter, the norms and principles of international law, and the strengthening of multilateralism. We have a final short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. Cuba celebrates on April 19th the victory over the mercenary invasion of Playa Girón in 1961, where it demonstrated to the world its willingness to defend with weapons the revolutionary process initiated on January 1st, 1959. After hot battles following the landing 3 days earlier of some 1,500 mercenaries in the area of the Zapata Swamp in the western province of Matanzas, the forces of the rebel army to the National Revolutionary Force and the Popular popular militias defeated the invaders. The aggression was organized by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency and had the air and naval support of the army of that northern power, whose government intended since then to reverse the process of social transformations in Cuba. For Fidel Castro, that April 19, 1961, Yankee imperialism received its first major defeat in America. On Friday, Cuba started in Haiti the first phase of the operation for the return of the nationals who were stranded in the Caribbean nation. The Cubans traveled in a caravan of buses from Port-au-Prince to the city of Cap Haitien in the north of the country. From the airport of Cap Haitien, the second phase of this operation will be implemented with the transfers by air to Cuba through Sunrise Airlines. The transfer will be carried out safely and without any incident. Today began the first phase of the return operation that travels in a caravan of buses from Port-au-Prince to the city of Cap Haitien in the north of the country. From the airport of Cap Haitien, the second phase of this operation will be implemented. On Thursday, during a visit to the Democratic Republic of Congo, United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk said he was concerned by the decision of the authorities of that nation to reinstate the death penalty. In this sense, at the end of a 4-day visit to the African nation, during which he met with President Felix Tshisekedi, the United Nations high officials referred that the death penalty must be abolished worldwide. In March, Justice Minister Rose Mutombo announced that her government reinstated the death penalty against military personnel guilty of treason and those guilty of urban banditry causing death. Thus, the moratorium on the death penalty decreed in 2003 was lifted, while since then, capital punishment pronounced mainly in cases involving military personnel or members of armed groups had been systematically commuted to life imprisonment.
Je suis préoccupé.
I am concerned by the government's recent decision to lift the moratorium on the use of the death penalty. The United Nations is clear on this. The death penalty should be abolished worldwide.
We now begin our tour of sports news because on Thursday, the Puerto Rican athlete Aiden Owens qualified for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. In this way, the decathlete obtained his ticket to France after completing his participation in the empty sack relays held in California, United States, with a record of 8,732 points. In this sense, the 23-year-old becomes the 24th delegate from Puerto Rico and the second in history in this category of athletics after another Puerto Rican, Luigi Llanos, represented the Caribbean nation in Athens 2004. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.